Dodger manager Dave Roberts now available? First question's from Alanna Rizzo. Go ahead.
Dave, Minter getting his first career start at any level in professional ball, likely just as an opener. What's your key to attacking him early?
I think it's just more of we got some familiarity with them, saw him a few days ago. I think that's certainly helpful. And just taking our at-bats, and I don't know how to predict how long they expect or want them to go. I'm assuming we're going to see a lot of different arms tonight, and we just got to prepare accordingly.
How do you not let this moment get too big, an elimination game, and kind of putting unnecessary pressure, but also realizing how important this one is?
I think, there's a balance, but I just think it just still comes down to playing good baseball. Whether you're trying to close out a series or, playing a life or death game, you still got to play good baseball. So I think that our guys with the experience we have, we're going to be fine.
We've seen Dustin May pitch in big games, none of which have been to this magnitude, an elimination game in the postseason. What gives you the confidence from what you've seen that he's the right man for tonight's job?
I think just the head, the confidence, and the stuff. I mean, this could be his Walker Buehler moment. I think that, in game 163 with what Walker did a few years ago and just kind of doing that, coming out of it like he did, this could be that defining moment for Dustin.
Jock's back in there. I'm assuming that's because you think Minter's not going to be in there for the long haul?
Yeah, that's just more of just kind of seeing what they have at their disposal tonight and, our expectations. So just kind of still pose some problems, and Jock's been swinging the bat really well. So to have him in there to take 4 at bats would be big tonight for us.
Thank you.
Next question is from Dave Vassay. Go ahead.
Hey, Dave, what do you believe is the biggest difference in this series, and what do you believe you guys need to change, if anything, with the way you played tonight?
I think obviously those catching a lead, the middle innings haven't been good in those 2 games we've lost. 2 of the games we've lost. Catching a lead and just continuing to add on, I think that's kind of, just the at-bats as far as there's times in our lineup where we've been good and then other times we kind of abandon as far as game plan. But I think going forward and from tonight on, there's going to be arms that we've seen all these guys, and I think that's going to help our club offensively.
What have you seen from Mookie in this series? Do you feel like he's putting too much pressure on himself?
No. I think in this series, drawn a couple walks, got a couple hits, lined out a couple times, hit the barrel a couple times. So, no, not at all.
Thank you.
Next question is from Bill Plunkett. Go ahead.
Dave, we're seeing rookie pitchers, young pitchers succeeding all across baseball in this postseason. Do you think the circumstances, neutral sites, no fans, if any, just a few, make it easier for them in the postseason?
I think that might be part of it, Bill, but also I think that just in this game in general, players are younger. Whether it's, like you said, we've seen it in the postseason. You've seen it also on the position player side, even from their club. So I think that guys are just kind of arriving earlier and just feeling more comfortable in the big leagues. But certainly, when you're not playing in a hostile environment on the road, is a little bit different than even here where we've got, call it 12,000 sort of neutralish fans or Braves, Dodger fans, mixed bag.
Last night after the game, you said at one point that you don't think the narrative surrounding Kershaw and his postseason history it couldn't be farther from the truth. Given the statistics, how can you say that?
I just think that you're because I'm not going to be here, and you probably have more information than I do as far as every single start outing that he made. And, there's other times where you're still talking about short rest where people nowadays just don't do that. And he's done it numerous times, and other relievers giving up his runs. And, there's just a lot of things that go into, easily just pinning on Clayton that he's not a postseason pitcher. So I just know that there's not a team that wouldn't want him taking the ball in the postseason. So that's just the way I feel.
Last night in particular, letting him go a third time through the lineup, we've seen you handle multiple pitchers over the past 5 years and not let them do that, even if they were going well at the time. Is it fair to say that you treat him differently?
Well, I think absolutely. And, this year, last year, his last 2 postseason starts, I did. And especially looking at how he was throwing the baseball, what he was doing, to make a hard stop for him when the top of the order comes through, that makes no sense at all. And so you still, in that point, you still have to cover 4 innings. So, it just didn't work out.
Thanks, Dave.
Yep.
Next question's from Jorge Castillo. Go ahead.
David, you hear me?
What's that, Jorge?
You hear me?
Yep.
All right. Did you have a conversation with Clayton at all after the game last night or today?
No. I talked to him. He was doing his next day work in the weight room, but we didn't talk anything about the game.
And how many hands are on deck tonight? I mean, who's not available in your bullpen?
I think that obviously Clayton's not going to pitch tonight. Tony won't pitch tonight. Walker will be our starter tomorrow, and I think everybody else will probably be available.
Are you comfortable yet using Kenley in a high leverage situation?
Kenley, I wouldn't be surprised to see him in tonight's game. So I feel, with the right run, I feel very good about using him.
And your right-handed hitters this series have struggled a bit. Are you seeing anything in a commonality, or is it just individual sort of struggles, or 4 games sample size? What do you see?
Yeah, I think more 4-game sample size. I really, Mookie's hit some barrels. The ball last night with Will off the bench could have easily gotten through that pinch hit at bat. So no, I just think it's 4 games, and I just don't want to dig too much into that. But I do know that they're ready to go tonight, and I expect good at bats and good production.
Thank you.
Yep.
I got time for one more. Go ahead, Scott.
Dave, is it more difficult to prep for a bullpen game than a game against the starter? And what have you noticed are some good keys to prep for something like this, since everyone's coming in, bringing something different to the table?
I think it's in a vacuum, it's probably a little bit more difficult, but I think that with their guys that we're going to see tonight, just us seeing them just recently, I think is very helpful. You can look at the starter last night. We'd never seen them. So preparing for something that you've never seen is probably a little bit more difficult. But I think that just the familiarity, I think, is beneficial, regardless of, various arms coming at us tonight.
Thanks, Doc. Thanks, everybody.